Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, has just been declared the most stressful tourist destination in the United States. How did we get here? I got some ideas. Meanwhile, Disney continues to cut park hours. Is that good business? Or are you simply getting less value for your money? This plus some park science, some yummy food, and I show speed. This is our State of Disneyland report. This is Fresh Baked. I don't know, man, that doesn't seem particularly stressful to me. But then again, I go to Disneyland differently. We're gonna talk about that study. The Disneyland is the most stressful vacation tourist destination in the United States. We're gonna talk about that as well as the change in the park hours and how those two things actually relate. But for now, we're gonna get started with the vibe check down Main Street. Hi guys. And that vibe is quite vibey, I must say. At 11:19 in the morning on this Monday morning, 74 degrees out. Wow. Oh, this is cheerful. Got the Straw Hatters over here. They always make your Main Street trip a little better, as do the Dapper Dans that we just saw. And Main Street vehicles. Wow, I'm really enjoying our vibe check right now. This is great. And that's a fair amount of guests that's in front of us, so the people do appear to be here. I will also report that I was looking at placing a mobile order and I saw some very extended return times. We'll get to that in a minute too, where we're gonna have lunch in a little bit, but yeah, this is happening right now. Happy to see this. Wow, the vibe is busy. Actually, I can actually say it feels busy right here. Let's just turn around. I mean, that's a fair amount of guests that we're seeing here on Main Street. Queue here at the Silhouette Studio is about 20 deep, maybe at least. How about the queue to take a picture with Walt and Mickey at the hub? How about that? Another queue, about 15, 20 guests deep here to take a picture. That's a good sign right there. Love to see that. We are off to a good start this morning, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I want to talk about the reservation calendar right now. Let's get back to Town Square. Not quite the Disneyland Railroad Station because it's closed right now, but let's get back to Town Square and take a look at that reservation calendar. We'll start as always with the single day ticket calendar, which is presently a tier 2 day. We're selling tickets for $142. Fairly nominal. As far as the availability goes, wide open as usual. Every date is available today, tomorrow, and throughout the rest of the week, even into October for the Halloween, the Halloween day. That date often sells out, but no, wide open today for single day tickets, which is typical. Here comes the Disneyland band, so hopefully we can endure that part. Let's look at Inspire Key. You can get a ticket. Today is available, which is good because it's been getting a little bit spicier with the calendar. I've been making reservations and noticing, a few more dates are selling out than we saw in the previous weeks, but today is available, as is tomorrow, as is the whole weekend, every weekend, in fact, in October. With the exception of those two, so Saturdays and Sundays are available, but there are 2 Fridays sold out. Next Friday, the 10th, and the 31st Halloween day, which is typical. This again is in contrast to what we've seen in previous years where the calendar is a little bit more sold out. Usually we're seeing 4 or 5 dates sold out at this point. We do also have 2 dates that are on the way to selling out, October 2nd and October 17th, Friday. Those are DCA starts only. So the calendar still looks pretty available for Inspire Keys, which is a good sign. Here they come. We're gonna have to end this really quick, which is a good sign that they are in fact making more reservations available for Magic Key holders. I feel like that's where we're at right now, because I think we're in for a day here. I think we're in for a fairly busy afternoon. Let's get started. Let's get back to the hub and let's get into the heart of our show, our State of Disneyland report. Yeah, not much let up. so far down Main Street and the hub. I really do think it's possible we could be in for one today. Before we get into Adventureland, let me just say thank you guys for watching this State of Disneyland Report. I am your host, David. This is our State of Disneyland Report. If you are not familiar with these shows, we're gonna go through the entire park. We're gonna go to every land and every attraction. We're gonna talk about what we find as we get there, you know, do a little recon, a little park science, talk about whatever is news or newsworthy with regard to those attractions, as well as the stuff I mentioned on the top of the show. How stressful is Disney really? What's up with changing of the hours, the calendar, the park closing hours, and how those two things are actually kind of related, or at least, well, yes, they are related. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be here for a good hour, hour and a half, at least in terms of the show. I'll be here for about 4 or 5 hours doing it. Yeah, so let's get started, guys. Let's get into Adventureland and get into a little park science. And before we do anything, I see iShowSpeed is here. Actually, you guys, look at this. We've got iShowSpeed right there. I've never actually seen him film. I've just sniped iShowSpeed. He's got quite a posse. Oh my gosh. Holy heck, that is a lot of people following him. And I don't mean the fans, I mean his crew. I'm not quite sure how to process what just happened. I just walked right into my frame, he did. I don't watch his show, but I'm obviously aware of him because I'm a YouTuber, and if you're on YouTube, you know who iShowSpeed is. Well, if you're on the internet, you know who iShowSpeed is. Hi guys, how are you? And I know he's everywhere, always, everywhere, all at once. That guy is very busy, but I was not expecting to see him at Disneyland, and I resisted the urge to chase him around the park because, well, I'm sure he kind of wants that. Like, he likes having people, you know, drop in on him, I suppose. But I am not, because we've got a show to do. We got a show to do that is more important than iShowSpeed. A little bit bottlenecked here as we approach Adventureland. I'm having to make my way, kind of weave a little bit. So yeah, more crowds here in Adventureland than we've been seeing. Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise, okay, top deck is full. The right deck is not. I can't tell you what the wait time is because they've got the board turned around, so it looks like it's closed, but they haven't closed the queue, so we can't really do any analysis on that. Well, okay, now that's interesting. We're just moving right along here because Jungle Cruise is closed. 40 minutes for Indiana Jones. I was not expecting to see 40 minutes based on what we're seeing here in the street so far. No doubt, although I have an idea, no doubt I would have thought we'd see something like 60, but I was advised that the last thing that iShowSpeed did was ride on Indiana Jones, so I have a feeling, hi guys, it's possible they might do something like shut the ride down a little bit, or, you know, just to make sure he can get through there cleanly, and then they open it back up and the crowd will start showing up here. So I would bet in a matter of time, this thing will be more like it normally would be on a busy day like today. Well, busy so far, but certainly that is nothing more than a 40-minute queue at least. I mean, it could be less than that. I mean, it is not more. These guests are just gonna stream right into the front third of the queue out here. They're gonna be in the house, or they're gonna be in the temple in maybe 5, 7, 12 minutes, 12, 15 minutes. And then another 15 minutes inside. You're looking at 30 here right now for Indiana Jones. Time will tell if my estimations are correct, but so far we're seeing less than Jungle Cruise, even though it was closed. That queue looked a little light because I think it just closed. Indiana Jones looking a little light. And you know what? Actually, I think what I want to do is go check out Bengal. I want to see what the standby looks like at Bengal. We don't ever do that, but it is noon or just shy of noon right now, so there should be a group there. And in fact, there is. That's a solid wait there for Bengal Barbecue. And this, by the way, takes forever. Going standby at Bengal is one of the most arduous, painstaking processes. I never do. I always do mobile order and never do standby because you'll just be standing there forever, because normally they limit it to just these 2 windows right here. Sometimes it's just the 1 window, at least in the past it has been. They do have 2 here. Although they're saying mobile order pickup is windows 1, 2, and 3. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So it is just the one. Guys, don't go on those standbys if you see that. Hey guys, a little pocket tip for you. If you ever are sure if you should get in a standby queue or not, if you don't have a mobile order or something like that, if you have a minute to be discerning, if you see a dining location, a quick service dining location with 4 windows, 3 of them are mobile order, 1 is standby, that's a no-go for me. I don't care how short or long, I mean, unless it's nobody. Hi guys. Unless it's nobody, which was not the case there. That was a lot of people. That was 15, 20 people. And the reason why it's 15, 20 people is because it's taking them forever to process a single stamp one at a time. They gotta do them one at a time. I would skip that. I would get mobile order. Of course, I always say that. Right? I mean, I feel like that 40 minutes has got to be artificially low. There's Jack. Well, I have not seen his new skull. I have not seen Jack's new head. But there goes Jack. They got ropes up here for pirates, but there's no guests in them. So I'm expecting something less than 20 minutes here at Pirates. Let's take a look. But yeah, don't you see? I mean, we have not seen this kind of activity, this kind of density in the crowds here for a little while. 25 minutes it's posted, but they're just making a U-turn right there. They're coming up to that final pole before heading up to the bridge, turning right around. That's, I don't know, that's not even 20, I would guess. It's only gonna take about 3 or 4 minutes to get into the house, or to get into the, through the threshold, another 7 or 8 minutes in there, 4 minutes in the house, so you're looking at 15 or 20 perhaps. Not even that, that's even, it's not even dense, it's not even loose, it's not even packed. Wow. Shocked, I must say. I'm a little bit shocked. I keep waiting. I keep waiting for the crowds to show up here, and every week I'm like, this is the one. That's what I just said on Main Street. I just said, this is gonna be the week. We're gonna finally hit a day, but so far so good. So far it's still quiet. Still busier than it used to be. Busier than like a month ago, but still not there. I'm gonna pause here at the Rivers of America to observe Tom Sawyer Island and the river itself. And note that that's the Fantasmic stage right there. They do Fantasmic twice a night. And what's going on, you guys? I don't watch a lot of Fantasmic. I'm not here at night often, but something is wrong with Fantasmic. And I mean, apart from Murphy, obviously, Murphy's a problem. We're at what, Maleficent on a stick right now. But I mean, irrespective of that, that's a whole separate situation. We're still waiting for that Murphy situation to resolve itself, which, as I understand it, was probably going to be sometime next year, 26. Fingers crossed. Not this year. It's not going to happen this year. But this show's getting worse, as I understand. There's been no pyro on many nights, many shows for the past couple of weeks. That effect. Hi guys, how are you? The magical Mickey effect, where he basically transports himself magically from the stage to the top. That hasn't been working right. And I know that people track this a little more closely than I do. Like I said, I don't see a lot of Fantasmic performances. I have to make a point to come see that because I'm usually done by 4 o'clock. So maybe you guys could fill me in. I want to know what's going on and how long has this been a problem? How long has this been a situation? What are the effects that aren't happening right now? You could actually put that, tell me on the app. Just do a little note there on the app and tell me what's missing out there. I know I've engaged with a few people there already on that. Link in the description. But I'm curious, I want to get caught up on what's happening there. And because I don't think, you know what? This again is going to relate to the conversation we're going to have in a little bit. But first, I'm going to head back to Town Square, sorry, not Town Square, but the Hub. Got some lunch. I told you I booked some lunch earlier. We're going to go to Jolly Holiday. Got a yummy little sandwich waiting for us. We are here at the Jolly Holiday to try the bulgogi toasted sandwich with corn cheese soup. It's got a Halloween themed name, but I have a feeling, I believe it's going to be here after the Halloween season. Because it's been here for a little while. I think it was here before the Halloween season, and they just called it the bulgogi toasted sandwich. And by the way, I am the guy who, when I go to Korean barbecue, I'm pretty much eating nothing but bulgogi. Well, that and maybe the brisket. But I'm a bulgogi guy, so I was certainly looking forward to this, and I'm also certainly looking forward to corn cheese soup. Although I'm hoping it's not a disappointment like the corn cheese soup. Although they didn't call it a soup. They made a point of that. The corn cheese, whatever it was just corn soup, actually, now that I think about it. It wasn't corn cheese. At Harbor Galley, right? Remember that? It was just basically sweet corn or cream corn. It was just a cream corn in a bowl. That's not what we're here for. We're not here for that. We're here for the bulgogi sandwich. That is a marinated beef bulgogi sandwich with grilled onions, mozzarella, kimchi aioli. Ooh, sounds delicious. On sourdough, served with corn cheese soup. And there you go, guys. That is our lunch for this afternoon. You can see the onions, you can see the bulgogi, and you can see a little bit of the kimchi spread on there. Cheers, fresh baked. That was actually quite tasty. I really enjoyed that first bite. You can see that the bulgogi is it's shredded, so it has a little bit of a different texture than you might find if you were to go to Korean barbecue. I'm not sure if that matters. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can make bulgogi. That was pretty tasty. Let's try again. Now on that one, I tried to pay a little more attention to the sauce, which you can see kind of dripping out here on the end. I'm not getting much of a kimchi note. Very vague. Almost the entire flavor palette on this sandwich is dominated by the bulgogi, the beef bulgogi. I'm not really tasting the grilled onions, although they're present. You can see them there, and I'll probably find one eventually. But again, the kimchi aioli, I would have liked to have noticed that a little bit more. And then let me add finally that the sourdough is an excellent choice. I'm a huge sourdough guy when it comes to toasted sandwiches. Toasted sandwiches are always better when it's toasted sourdough as opposed to, any other kind of bread. This is the perfect kind of bread to toast and to have, like a grilled cheese sandwich, that kind of thing. All in all, this is pretty tasty. Now, let's put that down. Let's set that aside because we did get, and I want to do this before it gets too cold. We did get the corn cheese soup. So it's corn and cheese. I'm trying to stir that up a little bit to mix in everything. And there's also some, I'm not sure what that is, mixed in there, but maybe we can taste it. Wow. That's very interesting. My palate was expecting cheese. But it's mostly corn, but in a good way. It is not cream corn in a sourdough bowl like you got at Harbor Galley. It is definitely like a very creamy, almost like a tomato soup type texture. I would have liked it to be a little bit hot, or hotter, I should say. It's kind of warm, maybe warm +1. But very tasty. That is really good. And I love that corn note keeps showing up as I try to experience it. There's also a crunchy texture in there from something. I'm not sure which. It doesn't say. I mean, the picture looks like Fruity Pebbles on top. I'm not sure what that crunchy texture is. There's no flavor to it necessarily, but that is really quite fascinating. This is probably the best part of this meal right now, and I'm enjoying the bulgogi sandwich. Getting back to that, by the way, one final thing I will note about the presentation of the sandwich itself is that it's a little bit greasy. I've had a few occasions where the grease is stripped out, and it's, I've had it on my fingers. It's a little greasy, and as I mentioned before, it's kind of a one-note sandwich, so you kind of, for me personally, I get a little bored actually. So I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to finish this sandwich because it's a good sized sandwich. This is probably a two-man job for somebody like me. Liz and I could easily share this. And at $15.49, that makes it a reasonably priced meal because it's quite filling. That sourdough bread is quite filling, plus the soup. You could possibly share this. So all in all, I think, the fact that I'm not getting as many flavored notes as I had hoped for at the beginning, I'm still good. I mean, it's still a good note, but I think I'm just going to give this 3.5 out of 5. I wanted to give it more, but I'm waiting for something else to kick in on that sandwich, and it's just not happened. But I'm going to finish this, then we're going to get back to work. We're going to try to see if we can, do a little more science in the park. We'll get back to work and see what's happening at New Orleans Square. Thought I'd stop by Jungle Cruise real quick. Fascinating. It's up to 40 minutes. I don't know when I've ever seen a 40-minute standby. It's not, though. It's just maybe, hi guys, maybe just half the upper section up there. We've still got Indiana Jones at 40 also, though. That's fascinating. But standby is poking out into the common walkway here. That's probably not, yeah, it's full. I don't even have to go back there. I can see that that's almost completely full in the back there. So that is probably a good 10 or 15 minutes longer than the queue we saw earlier. Before we get into New Orleans Square, let me talk about that, one of those two subjects we opened the show with. And there was a study recently done, and I don't know how often they do this or how in-depth it is, but it was determined by surveying guests of various resorts around the world or tourist destinations, the world and the United States. Disneyland was ranked as the most stressful location or tourist destination in the United States, and then fourth most stressful tourist destination in the world, which there's three more stressful than Disneyland. I wonder. Now, I don't particularly think Disneyland is all that stressful, really. I mean, it can be, I guess. But then again, I go to Disneyland differently than the average guest does. And I have a feeling that a lot of the people that watch this show also go to Disneyland differently than perhaps the guest that is filling out that survey. Now, what makes Disneyland specifically, hi guys, the most stressful tourist destination in the United States? Well, I'm going to try to paraphrase the article, the study that was done. They listed long queues, makes sense. Operating hours, interesting, we're gonna get back to that. Premium pricing and expectations versus reality. And that's something that I think is probably the most interesting of those possibilities. I mean, long queues exist no matter what theme park you go to. It's a fact of life. People kind of just know you're gonna get that. So I don't feel like Disneyland is any worse than any other theme park in terms of having long queues. Go to a park, you're gonna wait. Operating hours, well, you know what? I'm gonna save that for later because Disneyland recently changed their hours, and there's something to be said about that, especially as it relates to this conversation. But I don't know why that's stressful. They're open a lot. They're open, from 8 a.m. till now it's 11 p.m. That's a long time. Okay, premium pricing, now that I get. It's getting more and more expensive, relatively speaking, to go to Disneyland than it used to be. Everything is going up. I mean, inflation is the rule of the day, and that's nothing new, but it certainly is more apparent, and people tend to want to point a finger at that at Disneyland, more so than they would about other things in their lives, like going to a sporting event or going to the movies or just buying groceries or what you name it. The cost of YouTube TV now, or the cost, whatever. Everything is going up, but Disney gets a sort of a laser beam focus by guests on that topic. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not cheap, especially if you have a family. Annual passes are twice what they were before pre-COVID. Ticket prices, I should have looked that up, but I would say ticket prices have gone up, a good 50, 75% since the, pre-COVID. So it is certainly more expensive than it's ever been, obviously, to go to Disneyland. And we're actually due. We're due for another price increase now. But I feel like the most important thing to note there is that expectation versus reality. And this may or may, Disney certainly does have a lot to say, a lot of sway and what kind of experience we have in the park. Technology, for example, is, I don't know if that was mentioned, but for me, technology, which is supposed to make everything easier, that's what they're trying to say. We're gonna make everything more efficient and easier by giving you Lightning, the Genie Plus app, or the Disneyland app, or Lightning Lane, mobile order, and Hi, how are you? You know, having you buy your tickets online instead of at the gate. Certainly, that is a more complex and anxiety-inducing situation than it's ever been. Certainly pre-COVID, you didn't have to do those things. You could, but you didn't have to. You could come to the park organically. You could come to the park in an analog way pre-COVID. You could just walk up and buy a ticket. You could get a paper fast pass. You didn't have to use mobile order, although it was available. You could do all kinds of things. I mean, you can still do that today, but it's certainly the way that they have set it up, mobile order that is for food ordering, they set it up to favor the people who are using mobile order. I digress. Technology has made the park more complex, which is the antithesis of what it's supposed to do, what they say it's going to do. And that's part of the fallacy of that logic, because really what that technology is doing is tracking you, and it's organizing you, and it's keeping data, and they're able to get more information. They understand you and me better than it used to. I would say technology is a huge part of that problem. And then Disney's, the decision making that they've done in the past, and we've had this conversation about, how Disney's moving away from the guest and more towards the bottom line. And I would love to see them change that, but I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I will say though, one thing that's not mentioned in that story, hi guys, one thing that's not mentioned in that study is the guests' participation in that experience. And I mean that vis-a-vis expectation versus reality. There is a sort of assumption that you're paying this high premium price, you should get a premium experience. And I absolutely agree with that. For the prices that we pay, we should be getting one hell of a show. And for the most part, I think Disney does still deliver. There are things like we were just talking about with Fantasmic. That's not a premium show anymore. I mean, it's still a good show, but it's not a premium show. Fireworks are only on the weekends now. No weekday fireworks. The parades are few and far between, it seems like. We gotta wait and beg for a daytime parade. There's no daytime parade right now as we speak. But again, I do feel like the guests have some responsibility on this. I feel like guests have there's this entitlement, I think, a little bit, and I don't mean you personally. You're great. To paraphrase Tommy Lee Jones, Men in Black, a person is patient, a person is kind, but people as a whole, it seems like they have lost their chill a little bit. They have lost their patience. They have become, and they seemingly are more, have more entitlement than they used to. There's that, like I said, that expectation, like they're supposed to get treated a certain way when they come to the park, and I don't feel like people are that way like they used to be. And perhaps it is tied together. Perhaps it is symbiotic with the idea of the technology that we talked about before. It was much simpler to go to Disneyland 10 years ago. Much simpler to go to Disneyland. It's become more complex, and that has changed our attitudes about the park inversely. The more simple they can make the park, I feel like the more chill, the more patient guests would be. But hopefully, I guess this is just my long way of saying I would like to ask guests to try to be a little bit more patient and understanding, especially with cast members, especially with the people who are putting on that show for you, because they have what amounts to basically is a thankless job. They're not getting paid hardly any money at all. They have to beg for $1 raise, it seems like. They have to beg and fight and claw and scratch for any sort of acknowledgement and any sort of, here you go from Disney. Like, they don't get treated well. They don't. And yet they're supposed to come here and put a smile on their face and react kindly to every single negative situation that comes in, and that's all they get. You don't see a lot of cast members or guests walk up to cast members saying, "You're great, I love you, this is terrific, what a wonderful day we're having, thank you for your service." All they get is, why this, what's happening, why did this happen to me, what are you going to do about it, I'm not happy with my situation. And while there is, like I said, there are probably good reasons for that, there are probably negative things that, hi guys, how are you? I guess all I'm saying is TLDR, it's not all Disney. And I mean, certainly they have a large part to play. But for me, from where I come from, watching or doing this show and being in the park as often as I am, I run into everything. I run into lots and lots of situations. And I do wish we could be a little bit more patient, a little more chill in the park. That's my soapbox moment on this topic. But I will say this, I want to hear your thoughts. Is Disney stressful? Do you think it's stressful? Because I've been to other parks and I don't feel anywhere near. They had DCA ranked like 7 And I think DCA is more stressful than Disneyland is, mostly because of Lightning Lane. It's Lightning Lane, for me, that makes this park stressful, or I think it would make the park more stressful for the average guest. I think that's... Hi guys, how are you? We're gonna pick this up in a little bit after our tip board evaluation, because there's a conversation about what Disney has done with park hours that relates to this. We'll get back to that, but let's get into Orleans Square next. 12:46, we're gonna stop into Tiana's Palace real quick to check out the crowd in here. 12:46 is high time for lunch. Hi Shelly, how are you? It's dead in here, nothing. 2 people, that's it. They got both sides open too. Wow, total walk on, no Lightning Lane or mobile order needed here, that's for sure. Next door, Haunted Mansion is next. I mean, look, okay, so I'm so confused. Like, such a disparity between the crowds and the queues. 45 minutes though, posted here for Haunted Mansion. And it looks like that might be a fairly, they're going into Leota's garden over there. Matter of fact, they're sending them around the backside, which is good. This could be a 45-minute queue or something at least approaching that. It's all full up in here, everywhere there. Hi guys, all right. Lightning Lane's not too bad. I don't see anybody lining up for Lightning, so this may not be a Lightning Lane day. We have not seen any of that so far. And normally I am loath to talk about interactions that I have seen in the park specifically, but I just had one. Well, I should say I just observed one. I was out there at Haunted Mansion just now looking at the queue, and a guest came up to a cast member and said, "Where do I get a fast pass for this attraction?" And he didn't mean Lightning Lane. He literally meant fast pass. And by the way, this is the reason why people need to be watching. Hey, how are you? How's it going? Yeah, sure.
Fucking love you.
All right, thank you guys. This is why people need to watch our show, because you'll learn that kind of thing. We'll talk about Lightning Lane. We got a show coming up. Or no, we just did one about stacking. You probably saw that yesterday. Anyway, I digress. Where do I get a fast pass? And the cast member was awesome with that guest, by the way, because she understood that he wasn't talking about Lightning Lane. She says, we don't do fast pass anymore. Now everything is managed through the app using Lightning Lane. And he said, basically, that's news to me. I've got 8 people that I've got to get. By the way, it is 12:50 right now. And okay, my guy is trying to get a Lightning Lane right now for Haunted Mansion. I'm so sorry. I'm looking up the tip board real quick just to see what Haunted Mansion is. Let's see, how are we doing? Yeah, the return time for Haunted Mansion right now is 7:20 p.m. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This is what's stressful. That's where you get anxiety. That's where you get like, oh my God, what's happening? Because he came in here expecting a certain experience and didn't get it. And the experience he's gonna get is, oh my God, I gotta wait 7 hours to ride Haunted Mansion. He's gonna book that one for $720, and then he's gonna have to wait 2 more hours at the cost of $30 per person to get another one, because there's a cool down period, because you can't just get another one. I'm feeling this right now. I mean, over the course of time, this is, people will become more adept at this, I guess. But not everybody is a Disneyland savant. We take so much for granted as regular guests. I do. I speak for myself personally, I suppose. And we forget what that experience is like for people who don't come to the park very often, who don't pay attention to what's going on in the park. And and that's the guy that's going to fill out the survey. And he's going to this was not what I was expecting. This was far more stressful, far more arduous than I was expecting. What is his, I wish I could, I didn't want to linger, but what's his reaction going to be to knowing he's going to have to wait 6.5 hours, no, 5.5 hours to ride Haunted Mansion if he wants to get a fast pass? At $30 each for 8 people, that's $240. And he has to learn the app, okay? He has to learn the app first, and he has to be told how to get 8 people on his app so that he can get everybody organized, because God forbid, 8 different people try to get a lightning lane right now independently, all on each on their own, which is not how you do it. One person should be in charge. One person takes control of the whole group and books the lightning lanes for the whole group. That's how you do it. But he has no idea. I feel for that man. I feel for that man. I feel for that guest. And there's no way that, you know, he has no idea who Fresh Baked is. He has no idea about, you know, perhaps, you know, to be looking on the YouTubes and saying, how do I do these things? He didn't even know it existed. The words lightning lane have never been said to that man. I feel that. I feel that so deeply right now. And this park is, I mean, and what's the rest of his day going to be like? You know, what's it going to be like? It's like, I got to try to collect myself now. I've got to try to collect myself after just seeing that. And man, okay, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Wow, look at that. There's nobody here in the garden. It's posted at 45 minutes, but there's nobody in the garden. The queue's going straight to the house. There's nobody along the mountain wall, right? Was this closed? Because I mean, I'm not on crazy pills again, right? There's people in the park right now. There's people all over the walkways, everywhere, but look they're going straight in. Yeah, turn right guys, turn right, there you go. They're going straight in, straight to the threshold. I gotta check the theme park IQ to see if there's any breakdowns. Fascinating. No, it hasn't been down at all today, not even once. I mean, the times are increasing, and it looks like it was 65 minutes at one point. But sir, oh my gosh, look at, there's no extended one. I'm in extended one right now. There's no ropes at all. This is the back of the queue, more or less. More or less. That's not even 45 minutes. It's probably 30. You guys, I'm really having a hard time processing this day between seeing iShow speed walking around the parks to seeing long 40-minute Jungle Cruise, but a 45-minute Indy. And then Tiana's at like 30 minutes, you know, and then there's no ride closures. It didn't break down. I don't know what I'm doing in here, but I just thought I would take this conversation in here. There's lots of people in the street. Almost a 6-hour return time for Haunted Mansion, which is, you know, after I had just said, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of lightning lane activity going on. Now we've got a 6-hour return time there. I didn't check what the return time was for Tiana's right now. Let's see. Let me go take a look. I'm gonna come out here. That was pretty intense in there just now. Tiana's is a return time of 40 minutes. Yeah, Eeyore at least. Hi, Eeyore. Meanwhile, Winnie the Pooh is down again. Seems like half the time we come through here to Bayou Country, Winnie the Pooh is closed. Looks like things are backing up a little bit. This is where we saw the back of the queue just a few minutes ago. It's starting to grow a little bit. It's starting to grow and extend towards the mountain wall there. That 45 minutes is really attractive. And as I continue to observe, a steady stream of guests are flowing into the queue. Now it's starting to back up here. Cast members probably at some point going to have them make that U-turn and come back this way in short order and start filling out the garden. But it is going to happen here in short order, I think. A few moments later, that indeed has happened. Guests are now making a U-turn, and they're slowly starting to fill up that stretch along the wall, and then it'll come back down this way, then they'll have to start filling up the garden. So this is a temporary situation, an outlier, if you will, I believe, quickly being remedied by a large supply of guests flowing into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Let's go next door to the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree to see how the wait is to get lunch right now. As mentioned, we are in lunch time. It is 1:04 now, 1:04 p.m., so still ripe for guests to be getting some lunch here. And this is a place that where standby can get really backed up as well. Medium. Certainly not like what we saw at Tiana's Palace. That's maybe 25 guests there about. So still, it's kind of busy. Kind of busy. Let's see if there's any tables back here. Feels busy. These seats over here are almost always the first ones to fill up. But if you keep going to the back, you will invariably find a couple. There's one. That could be one. There's one right there. There's two actually, right there. Okay, yeah, so it's positive. It's definitely busier than we saw the last time we came through here. Hi guys, how are you? Definitely busier than we saw last time we came through here, but still tables. Moving right along, taking this show to Galaxy's Edge. I should expect to find maybe section 3, right? Section 2 is section 3 at least for Rise. Crowded walkway, I'll say that at least. All right, they got the ropes up for 4, but they're not using it. Ropes are up at 4. Yeah, there you go. Back of the queue is just shy of the U-turn at section 3. So that's a pretty, hi guys. That's a pretty standard queue for what is a busy-ish day. That's the kind of queue we should be finding at Rise of the Resistance. And I would actually call that a go, perhaps. It depends. Hey, how are you? Let's see, we'll walk by here. Hi guys. Posted at 50 on the board there, and I see nobody. Nobody's in Lightning Lane, just a few guests posted out here, but there's nobody in the queue, in the ropes. So that's a go. I'd call that 50 is going to wind up being an actual 35 or so. Okay. Hey, how are you? You ever notice how packed Docking Bay is on a regular basis? I don't know if I've ever really paid attention to it because, you know, certain dining locations are always, they seem like they're more busier than others, right? Alien Pizza Planet or, you know, I don't know. But Docking Bay is packed. It's packed right now, and nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how this might be, Docking Bay 7 might be the busiest dining location in the entire park. It's incredibly busy in here right now. And it's interesting considering the conversation we've been having. But I digress. Let's take a look at the tip board at 1:16 this afternoon. Alice in Wonderland, 25 minutes, pretty standard. Astrober, 20, standard. Autotopia 5, not standard, but still, you know, yeah. I mean, we'll go up there. I want it to be higher. Let me just say that. I want it to be higher. Buzz Lightyear 15, that's a little light for Buzz Lightyear at 115. Chippendale's 25, Dumbo 20, so nothing standing out yet. Finding Nemo 20 minutes, that's below standard. That's a discount right now, that's a go situation. They've still got Haunted Mansion at 40, but yeah, so there's that return time again. It's 7:35. Although I'd be willing to bet if you were to book that and then do the refresh trick, you might be able to get that down. But again, woe be the guy who doesn't even know what Lightning Lane is or the Disneyland app to figure that one out. I can't, you guys, I'm having difficulty maybe expressing just how much that troubles me. And while, you know, when I opened up our little, you know, soapbox moment out there about saying I don't think that Disneyland is particularly stressful, I have been to Disneyland 1,000 times more, 1,500 times maybe. I'm not the person to ask if it's stressful. You know what I mean? I don't think I am the guy to have that opinion. Because if I was that other guy, I would be super stressed out right now. And by the way, I will say this, again, vis-a-vis our closing statement about how I think that guests could stand to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more chill. He took that surprisingly well. He was, you know, he's like, oh, okay, what do I need to do? He opened up his phone and said, show me what to do. And that's when I left because I just didn't want to, anyway, because I was talking to the cast member. I hope, I'm thinking of you, whoever you are, sir, I'm thinking of you, and I hope that you and your party find their way through this day. Indiana Jones Adventure, 35 minutes. Return time in 5 hours. Usually that's about sold out by now, but still, that's much higher than we saw last time. Small World 20, Standard, Jungle Cruise 35. A little high, actually. King Arthur Carousel 10, Mad Tea Party 5, Winnie the Pooh is still closed, Matterhorn 35. Guys, it's still light out there. I've been asked a few times, by the way, and again, shout out to all the people. We have gotten more fresh bakes than we have, of late. This has been a really high fresh baked day. And shout out to all of those guests who have been expressing their enthusiasm for our show and just for seeing me. Especially to the ones I just met here at Docking Bay 7, they try to buy me something to drink. I'm like, I just had some, I just ate, but I'm good. But they were very kind. Everybody's just been so super kind and nice to me, and I hope you're having a great day. What was I saying? I was talking about Matterhorn. Yeah, so it's still, and that's what everybody's been asking me. I've been asked 3 times, where are we at? Moderate, slow, busy? Because everybody knows that's something that I have a constant gauge on. We are moderate today, I think. This is probably, level orange-ish. But that's what I'm seeing in the crowds. That's what I'm seeing on the streets. These wait times are not moderate. They're below moderate. Runaway Railway, 40 minutes. Return time in 3 hours. Let's see. Smuggler's Run, 30. Light. Toads, 20. Peter Pan, 35. Standard. Pinocchio, 15. Pirates, 15. Roger Rabbit, 40. For Roger Rabbit, that's pretty standard, if not light. Snow White, 20s. I have to look now. No, I'll do that later. Space Mountain, 30 minutes. I just can't. I don't even know. I can't. Okay, Star Tours has a longer wait time than Space Mountain. Rise is up to 65 now, and I would say no. It's not that. Unless something changed with respect to lightning lanes coming in, that was not a 65-minute queue. Tiana's is still at 45, but that won't last. There you go. Take care. And with that, we will get back to work. Head out into this common area here. In Galaxy's Edge, where there's significantly more people milling about than in previous episodes of this show, significantly more. Got Chewbacca entertaining guests over there. But yeah, there's just a general sense of more activity here. We saw it was 30 minutes posted for Millennium Falcon just about 10 minutes ago, and it has nearly doubled to 55 minutes. I have a guess as to why that might be, but we're gonna go head in real quick just to put eyes on the queue. What does a 55-minute queue look like? Oh dear. Yeah, there's some guests who are saying no thank you. Hey, you two guys. The back of the queue is at the ramp. My goodness. So my guess was wrong, actually. That 30 minutes was some kind of call to action, because I thought the answer was because there was a breakdown in some of the, the Falcons, some of the cockpits, some of the shuttles, so that would effectively double the wait time, right? But that would, if that were true, then we would see a much shorter standby. If that were true, they would still be empty even in this point. But seeing the back of the queue here, more guests deciding that they're gonna pass, seeing that, and that so this is standby. It's just standby that's filling that up. I can't really see Lightning Lane, but I see guests flowing freely there. There's no queue at Lightning Lane. There's guests going in that direction or going towards the Hondo room. So this is not a Lightning Lane situation either. This is just pure standby showing up for what was perceived to be a discount 30-minute queue. So let's get back to that conversation about how stressful Disneyland is. And as I mentioned, I felt like part of the, there's a part of it that says that maybe we could be a little more patient. Maybe we could, keep a little bit more of our chill. Maybe we're a little bit entitled sometimes. But that is also a product of prices that keep going up. You know, everything costs more. It's like double what it used to be. And so in the sense, you kind of do feel entitled in that sense. But something that I have not really covered, and I kind of wish I had when it started, when that news first started breaking, because this has been going on now for a couple of weeks. Disneyland doesn't close at midnight anymore. Like at all, period. And that used to be every single night, especially during the peak seasons. You go look at the calendar last year, 24, October, it was, you know, midnight every single night. Midnight. You know, and most of the year it was like that during the summer and everything. But about a month ago, the park started closing at 11. And there was no commentary, no announcement from Disney. They just started doing it. And people have been talking about it. Hey, Dave, what do you think about it? And you know, my initial response was, well, I get it. You know, the park is pretty dead. I'm here a few times a year at past 11, and it's pretty much, you can walk onto every ride, and it's very easy to do, and you know, it's great. There's not a lot of people here at 11, so perhaps Disney's felt like they don't need to be open, and it's costing them more money than it's earning them. They're not getting enough ROI on staying open that extra hour. And that seems reasonable. I would not want to lose money in a certain scenario. I would rather save that money as a business owner. I completely understand that line of thinking. And we'll pause that first, because I want to enjoy this transition into Frontierland and Fantasyland. Delightful. Very busy in here, by the way. People taking a lot of shade and rest here in this tunnel where they might not usually. People are still doing the magic, or the, what do they call that dang thing? The key? I want to call it a magic key, but it's not that. Key to Disneyland? That thing? Yeah, great. But here's the thing about that extra hour. That hour is worth something to some percentage of guests. That hour has value. For some, especially those who don't come often, and there is a certain percentage of guests who, when they do get to come to the park, they want to experience as much of it as possible. They want to have as much Disneyland available to them as possible. They want all the rides open, and they want the park open for the maximum number of hours. In a month or so, presumably, Disney's going to raise their prices. Disneyland's going to raise their prices, and we're going to be getting less Disneyland for it. Prices are going to go up. It's shrinkflation, but on a park scale. Like, we've seen this happen a lot with dining, with food. The size of the portions is getting smaller, right? They're giving you less food, and they've been overt about this. Remember that one time, I forget her name, the CFO who was unceremoniously left the company about a year or two ago, I can't remember when. She said out loud, we're gonna save money by giving smaller portions. And by the way, you should be happy for it, because some of you probably could lose a few pounds. She said that with her face. I shook my fist at that comment, and it's still going on. We're getting less food for our dollar. And now shrinkflation is happening to the park, the hours. We're getting an hour less of park than we have in the past, and we're going to be paying the same price. Matter of fact, we're going to be paying more, because certainly we're due for a price increase right about now. I'm going to say we're going to get one in the next month. So while I think it's a savvy business decision, I wonder what effect that has on guests in their experience. Like, okay, first of all, I don't feel like, I feel like I'm entitled to the best possible situation because I'm paying top dollar. A park hopper is what, $240 on some days? True story, it's even worse at Walt Disney World. But now you're gonna charge me more and give me an hour less of park. They're also taking away, or they did take away, early entry. That's going away in January, I think it is. There's a reason for that too, by the way, and I still want to have a comment about that. I might save that commentary for when they actually take that half hour away from hotel guests. But you cannot deny Disney, that you're giving us less for our dollar. Now, like I said, I get it. And you know, I'm not trying to say that Disney is a poor experience. I still feel like it's a tremendous value, and I've said that in the past. In spite of the cost, you get a lot of show. You get a lot of, it's almost too much. And I feel that was one of the comments that I remember reading, or that there's a certain idea that there's almost too much show here, and maybe that's where the dissatisfaction is, because you don't feel like you can go to Disneyland and spend one day here and experience everything you want. You're going to miss some stuff. So it's a 2 or 3 day trip. So that costs you more, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying in that regard. But I'm not trying to say that I'm dissatisfied personally with my Disneyland experience, but I get it. I get why people would be. I'm not sure I like that hour. I know I've been to the park a few times. I'm like, gosh, I thought the park was closing at midnight, but it closed at 11 tonight. It was kind of disappointing. And I'm a local. And getting back to work after our second soapbox session. This is kind of dense right here, right? A little crowded right here. And again, this is in contrast to what we're seeing on the tip board. Pinocchio, though, that's a healthy size queue. It's about, you know, out here a little bit, that's 15 minutes. And for Pinocchio, that's pretty high. Let's see. There you go, Snow White's popping a little bit. They've got it at 15, but it is not. That is more than 15. They're out here in wild space, you guys. They've broken containment. That's Snow White, outstanding. Meanwhile, Peter Pan is kind of light. There's nothing over here in Merlin's section. One chain down, plus they've grown it with a bonus rope, but they're not using that either. 3 chains down over here. 4 chains. 4 chains. It says 30. Yeah, that's actually probably accurate. Probably is 30, maybe less than that. Maybe 25, 20. So that was a bit of a surprise. Dude, Snow White. It's crushing it right now. Toad's next. Looking moderate, probably. Oh no, it's getting a little bit, oh yeah. They're getting close to the threshold out here. If they keep filling that up, you might see out here past the gate. That's 20 minutes, you guys. 15, 20 minutes there. Dumbo. Light-ish. They're not in the back. I walked by there before. They're not in the back in that far extended section. Posted at 20. That's about accurate, I would say. Spend more time in Fantasyland, you guys. Spend more time in Fantasyland, whether or not you have kids. I think it's my favorite land. I used to say it was New Orleans Square, but I think it's my favorite land now. Mad Tea Party is 1 rotation. Everybody in that queue right there is going to get into the next set of teacups. Nobody's in teal. There are 2 teal cups. Nobody, okay, let's just see. This group just said, nope, I'm not getting it. I'm getting in yellow. No teal, thank you very much. Are they going to go green or teal? Oh, they went teal, okay. It took the last group to get in there. We got 2 cups left. Did they go green or teal? What do they take first? They're going green first. And then your very last guess, teal. Nope, nobody picks teal, you guys. What is that? Why does nobody pick teal? Alice is looking pretty moderate. Posted 25, and they're using the extended queue out here. It's not quite out into wild space, but a little bit. If it gets a little busy here, they will break containment, but that's a 25-minute queue there. Still a go, it's always a go. We're gonna catch another rotation here of the teacups. Okay, so we've got red, yellow, green, and teal left. Oh, and peach. Oh no! Ah, she going for it. Okay, there goes peach. There goes green. There goes red. And the last one. Yep, the last one is teal. An unscientific study has begun. What percentage of iterations of rotations is teal the last cup picked? There's 2 teals, so one of them had been taken already. But the last teal, the last cup picked was teal. All right, you guys, moving right along. Heading to Fantasyland B at 1:48 in the afternoon. No sign of iShowSpeed. I heard last that he was at Raider Springs Racers. He went from Indiana Jones to Matterhorn in no time at all. And then it was like 20 minutes later, I heard he was at Raider Springs. So he's not messing around. He is fast. iShowSpeed is. Anyway, okay, so let's go to Small World next. And that sign is showing a 15-minute standby right now. Quite the bargain. This is a go situation, and almost always is here at Small World. Even though they're using a couple switchbacks back there, that's still going to be a delightful queue. You're going to get through that in no time at all, and you're going to have yourself a very pleasant journey through the world, the entire world. Oh, there's the monorail. There are days when I feel like Small World is a perfect attraction because it accomplishes so many things. It's easy to get on. There's hardly ever competition. You get a very unique and quintessential Disney experience, the kind of experience you're not going to get at any other theme park. On a hot day, you're getting 10 plus minutes in the cold. It's air conditioned, you get to rest, you get to chill on a boat. I mean, what more could you ask for, honestly? Another healthy swarm of crowds here, even though Fantasyland Theater is closed. The walls went back up. We'll drift closer. Those walls were down. What was it, 2 weeks ago? The walls were down, they went back up. They're getting ready for Christmas, for the Santa meet and greet. Let's see if we can't peek. Well, I don't really see, there's no work happening. It doesn't look particularly holiday, although we still got more than a month before that season begins. When I was walking up back here, I thought, oh my gosh, but the train is so light. It's busy out here, why are there no guests in the queue? And then I remembered the train is still closed. It's been closed now since I got here. So that's going on 3 hours now. No Disneyland Railroad. Let's go to Toontown. And we'll start at Roger Rabbit, as usual, where I am seeing a posted 50. That suggests busy. No action out here in Lightning Lane. Just 2 guests in the queue right there for Lightning Lane. That's good. $50, we should see the back of the queue any second. The deeper we get in from this point, the less 50 minutes it becomes. And there we go. So it's at the prop room. That's probably pretty accurate. That's probably 50 minutes, especially when we peek around. This is in the dip room. They look very posted, like they've been there a while and they're not expecting to move anytime soon. You know, it's not very often you find a go situation at Roger Rabbit, and I still don't think that is one. But they're hard to come by. So, you know, maybe you make that part of your early morning, your rope drop schedule, which, you know, we did the stacking video, and I wanted to make sure I included that in my getting that early on as my bonus ride in the stacking video for Lightning Lane. But maybe, yeah, if you're going standby, maybe you do find a way to do Roger Rabbit and Runaway Railway for that matter in the morning. There's room for that, especially if you have a family. But don't spend any time over there in the play yard if you can. I know it's difficult. I've had difficulties myself with Sophia. You know, when you get here and she's like, no, we're not leaving until I play for 45 minutes in the yard. It's closed. Runaway Railway is closed, so we're not going to be able to measure that. I know it's hard. If you're going to try to take your family to Toontown in the morning, you got to convince them somehow, the kids. We're just going on the 2 rides. We'll come back later and play, I promise. But right now we need to hit these rides. That didn't go very well for me. And I had to give up and just say, you know what, it's not my day, it's Sophia's day. Because it's very difficult sometimes to get them out of here, to convince them that this is not the place they want to be right now. You want to go ride rides. But the reality is, if you're coming with kids, They're in charge, whether you want them to be or not, because their happiness is your happiness, right? At least for me, their peace is your peace. Meanwhile, good solid wait there for the mini meet and greet. This they're posted 30. Same for Mickey, 30 minutes.
McKenna, look how cool this is.
We'll check gadgets, which looks possibly closed. No, it's open. I thought it might be closed. I was not hearing any action. I missed taking a look at the posted wait time, but the back of the queue, oh, it's right here at Dale's Butt. So you're looking at, 30 minutes there. That's probably a 30-minute wait. I've done the math and I've forgotten it. I've done the math and I want to say that's 30. And that is, in fact, what was posted. 30-minute standby. By the way, can we just say the duck pond, the splash pad or whatever, the duck pond is not going to happen. It's been converted to a meet and greet. I don't think it's ever going to happen again. This is never going to be what it was supposed to be. And that makes me sad. That bums me out because I really liked the way it was before. I really liked the way this boat was before the update. This is the one thing I didn't like. I liked pretty much everything else they did here, including getting rid of the fountains. Hi guys. The fountain that was here and the other fountain over there by Roger Rabbit. I like that. I like what they did to the walking spaces. I like what they did at Goofy's house. I think the Goofy Play Yard is great. Obviously, I love Runaway Railway. It's one of my favorite attractions. But I don't like what they did to Donald's boat. That was me and Tristan, when he was little, had so much fun running around in that boat, going up and down the stairs and looking out and seeing things. And it's a really fun experience. They've turned it into nothing. It's a prop now. Donald's boat is nothing more than a prop. Ah, look at that. It's still posted at 35 minutes. The queue is, though, standby, is left of tree. So that's pretty beefy. They're using all of it here. So you're looking at least 20 minutes in that section. By the way, very light in Lightning Lane. Hardly any guests there in Lightning Lane. So it's the only attraction that's getting any action. Two attractions is Indiana Jones and Haunted Mansion. Everything else is pretty light. Even Space Mountain, they're using tree lamp. Hi guys, all right. Tree lamp is in effect. That's another 5 minutes. But we're not using extended 1 or 2. They're making the U-turn at the lamp. Incredible. 35 minutes it is, incredible. Right here. Every single week, back before May, I would come through here and this queue would be full of guests. Something happened in May. I may do a video on this as well. Something happened in May where the year-over-year wait times just dropped. I was doing a study and doing a brief analysis. I didn't get very far, but I was observing it happen. The drop-off between last year and this year happened right around May. And pretty much ever since then, I've been saying, wow, the park feels dead. And, for a while, I'm like, oh no, it's the summer. June is usually kind of slow, but then July hit and nothing happened. August hit, nothing happened. September hit, nothing happened. So it's not an anomaly. It has been a trend now for going on 4 months. Finding Nemo. That's a 30-minute queue right there. All those chains empty. I mean, it looks like we're still waiting, you guys. Another session is going to go by. We're waiting for this crowd to pop, for this park to pop. I wonder what Disneyland thinks. I wonder what, Bob Iger and Josh Tomorrow think of Disney being considered the most stressful park in the United States. Does that please them? Because we all saw this coming, in a way. We all saw this coming. I said, back when Lightning Lane first became a thing, when they first announced paid Lightning Lane, I said the goal is to frustrate people. The goal is to make people so frustrated and so overwhelmed by the processes they just throw their hands in the air and give up and pay for Lightning Lane. So that they want to make the park as difficult to navigate in order to encourage them. And it's not, it goes beyond just, inflating wait times, which I don't even think they do. But that's why they add attractions on there. That's why, now I don't know, that could be a conspiratorial, but it sure seems to be paying, they have asked for this. They have, their actions leading up to this point have asked for this, have come to this conclusion. They have created the most stressful park in the United States. I don't think it could be argued. I really don't. Even though I personally don't think it's all that confusing or all that stressful. But then again, as I mentioned, I go on the train and ride Mr. Toads. You don't see me in Indiana Jones or Space Mountain very often unless I'm doing a study. Meanwhile, Autotopia is posted at 20. It was 5 when we checked the tip board, but it's probably not 20. I mean, they are finally into the risers a little bit. There's one inbound switchback, but they're actually, well, I take that back, they're not actually in the risers. They're at the U-turn. They're gonna go up and turn around, and they will clear that queue. They've got 3 out of 4. Lane 2 there is not operational at present, so they're running 3 out of 4 lanes, which does slow things down a little bit. But this is still, I would say this is less than standard. People want to get rid of Autotopia, but like Small World, I think that's just about near perfection. And I don't, even with the sound and the gas and all that, I think that ride's near perfection, as a Disneyland experience goes. If you're gonna come to Disneyland, if you come here as opposed to going to Universal or Six Flags or something like that, it's rides like that are the reason, I think. And that brings us to Tomorrowland proper at 2:21 in the afternoon, moving right along. We've been at this for just under 3.5 hours. And I'd say it's been a pretty breezy day still. Busier, but still quite manageable. Hi guys. Quite manageable. Without Lightning Lane, I might add. There you go. You can't see it, but I can. Frame rate's a little goofy here with these signs, but that's a 40-minute posted wait time right now for Space Mountain. 40 minutes. It should not be that way. Lots of tables down there at Alien Pizza Planet at 2:30, 2:25. Okay, so we got the queue definitely reaching into the extended interior, but guess we're just walking straight in. I don't see anybody in that first section. Section 3, I think, I can't remember, yeah, 1, 2, 3. So section 3, maybe it should be, yeah, maybe, I don't know. So, no, this is section 3, yeah, because it goes backwards. So just section 1, basically. Yeah, that could be 40 minutes. That is 40. Especially if there's no Lightning Lane, which, I mean, we can't really tell because once you go into that covered area, you can't see where the queue is. You never get to see the queue, the Lightning Lane to the Space Mountain unless you're in it. But if Lightning Lane is light, yeah, that's an easy peasy ride right there, 40 minutes. Go, go, go. There again, that's a pinch point right there. And it is pinching. The people are in the streets. You know, we got this, I think, at DCA last week too, where I was saying the people are in the streets, but they're not in the queues. We're getting the same result here at Disneyland today. Because this requires some, a little bit of weaving through the crowds, right? I'm not seeing a lot of open pavement on the ground. People are occupying. They're Star Tours, and they've got detention open. The detention doors are open. which is never a good sign. You don't want that if you can help it. So that usually means you're looking at something like 30, 35 minutes at least for Star Tours when they're out there. Just gonna walk by, it says 30 minutes posted. Meanwhile, Buzz Lightyear, we just passed the sign that says 15 minutes. This looks kind of busy, actually. This looks a little bit more like what we would normally find on a busy-ish day. The queue is still quite loose here. There's a lot of gaps. People are still walking. They're finding the back of the queue right about there where the Paper Mover track goes to bed. Now it looks like they are going into Pixie Hollow a little bit. The ropes aren't out here though. When the ropes are out here, that's bad. That's usually a very busy day. And nope, they're not going to Pixie Hollow. Oh my gosh, what is happening? So this section here is still not being used. So yeah, that's a very easy 15-minute queue right there for Buzz Lightyear. Hi guys, how are you? Yeah, you're coming out and turn right back in and going in. Easy peasy. I wonder if they're gonna do anything about it. Like, we've been talking about this now for months. Like I said, since May. Is this by design, or should Disney be worried that fewer people are coming to the parks? I mean, we're seeing similar stories. Obviously, Vegas, people aren't going to Vegas like they used to. The year-over-year numbers on Vegas are falling off a cliff. I just read an article on Los Angeles Times just about how general tourism is down in LA. She's upset about that. It's not just Disneyland. I think in general, the economy is slowing down with respect to, just people spending that extra money that it requires. It's just too expensive, I think. They would be more inclined if it didn't cost so much, but will Disney, will they make that trade? And that's some of the people or some of the conversations I've heard with respect to Vegas, for example, is that Vegas is fine with attendance dropping because they're charging for everything. They charge you for the coffee maker. They charge you to use the in-room refrigerator. They charge you parking. They charge you $14, $20 for a beer. They're charging you so much more that they're still making the same money even with fewer guests. It's like they're baking that in. And that's kind of what Disney's been doing. They've been following that trend. I hate it. You know what I mean? Like, I absolutely hate it. It sounds reasonable. It's so crazy. Why they would rather make more money per guest than make more guests happy. That's what it feels like anyway. But it's not up to me or you or anybody else. It's up to Disney and Vegas and whatever theme park is having issues. If that's how they want to operate, that's their prerogative. It's not like, again, it's that entitlement issue, right? Are we entitled to a cheap park? Maybe not. We can just wish. I'm going back here even though Big Thunder's not open because that's what I do. I guess having conceded that at the end there, I guess they are. This is what they wanted. This is by design. This is what they've asked for. They have all their actions and decisions have led to this point, right? So that's what they want. Good for you, Disney. Way to go. That leaves us like, oh gosh, I wish things could be the way they were. And it's just never going to happen. It's just not going to be like it was pre-COVID. Those days are gone. Wouldn't it be cool though? Thank you guys. Wouldn't it be cool if they did? Wouldn't that be nice? Who's going to make that decision? Hi. Bob Iger's leaving in 26. We're going to have a new president next year. And that's coming up. 26 is around the corner. Dana Walden, Josh Tomorrow. Who's going to be the one to put the guests first again? Will they? I don't know. I hope they do. I really hope they do. But and again, I'll say this again. I'll reiterate this. This is not a 0 or 100 black or white type situation. Very gray, this whole conversation. I love going to Disneyland. I'm going to keep coming to Disneyland. I'm going to keep giving them my money because I love it here. But I wonder about, there's all kinds of fringe guests out there who may or may not be marginalized out of this experience. And I don't know if that's what Disney, I think it is. That's what they've asked for. That's what they wanted. I don't know if I'm the guest they want, though, to be honest. I really don't. I still believe that I am the undesirable, what do they call it? Not undesirable, I don't remember what they called it. Unfortunate or guest unfavorable. That's what I am. I'm unfavorable. Hi, guys. It's still a great value though, Disneyland is, and I'll say that one more time because this sounded like a bitch session, but it's really not. It's really not. I want that guy to have a good time. That's all. I want more people to be able to have fun here. That's why I like it when it's busy, because it means that more people are experiencing the joy of Disneyland, and I want that for everybody. I want that for everybody. But I mean, it's just not going to happen. That guy, I hope he had a good day today. I'm just putting out, God, whoever's listening, prayers, have that guy make it through this day happy. That's all I can ask for. And that's the Fresh Show. We're going to call it right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Bake.